Listen carefully. That voice that says you are not enough, that you will fail, that nobody cares, that voice is not wisdom, it is fear wearing your face. The Stoics knew the mind left unguarded becomes its own enemy. Every thought feels real, but not every thought is true. You are not your darkest thoughts. You are what you choose to believe despite them. Guard your mind, like your life depends on it, because it does. You were born fearless, full of something the world hadn't touched yet. Then they sat you down, gave you rules, gave you fear, gave you a safe path that leads nowhere. Be realistic, they said. Don't risk it, they said. And slowly, you picked up their scissors and cut your own wings. The Stoics warned, the greatest tragedy is not a life that failed, it is a life never attempted. Dig your dream back up, before the ground swallows it forever.
You have hundreds of contacts, thousands of followers, notifications all day. Yet at 2 a.m., when life gets heavy, there's no one to call. This isn't your failure. It's the design. Society built connection without depth, presence without truth. The Stoics knew, one person who truly understands you is worth more than 1,000 who only see your highlight reel. Stop performing. Start connecting.
Why society has made distraction a religion. Epictetus warned that the man who cannot sit alone with his thoughts is a slave. He simply has not yet seen his chains. Modern society has built an entire industry around keeping you distracted from yourself, because the moment you sit in silence and face your own mind, you begin to see the chains, and once you see them, you can break them. Epictetus taught that we do not control what happens to us, only how we respond. The chronic complainer rejects this lesson. Every visit becomes a rehearsal of grievances, the unfair boss, ungrateful children, the broken world. Slowly, their negativity corrodes yours. Do not mistake venting for vulnerability. The complainer seeks an audience. You are not obligated to be one. Protect your peace. You were born original, unique, unrepeatable. Then the world began its work. Sit still, think like us, want what we want. Piece by piece, your authentic self was replaced with something more convenient. The Stoics called this the greatest theft, not of money or time, but identity. The world rewards conformity, but only you can honor your truth. They never locked you up. They never needed to. They gave you fear, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of being different. And you stayed, not because you had to, but because you were afraid not to. The Stoics knew a man ruled by fear is a slave who built his own cage. The door was never locked. It was never even closed. You just forgot to look. Dust does not gather by accident. What that means, it is the fingerprint of a stagnant spirit. When you stop cleaning your home, something deeper has already stopped moving. Your discipline, your self-respect, your clarity. The home is a mirror. Dust is what it shows when you stop looking honestly. And like the chronic complainer who spreads grievances, neglect slowly corrodes your peace. Protect your mind.
You were born original, unique, unrepeatable. Then the world began its work. Sit still. Think like us. Want what we want. Piece by piece, your authentic self was replaced with something more convenient. The Stoics called this the greatest theft, not of money or time, but identity. The world rewards conformity, but only you can honor your truth.
But here is what Epictetus, a slave, understood better than most free men. Your chains are only real if you consent to them. The corruption of others is not your corruption. The blindness of the crowd is not your blindness. The cowardice of many is not your permission to be afraid. You cannot fix what the whole world refuses to examine, but you can fix yourself. And a fixed self standing upright in a crooked world is an act of rebellion. The cracked mirror represents the moment you begin to see yourself through the eyes of people who do not value you. Every cruel word, every dismissal, every relationship that diminished you instead of elevating you, these are the cracks. The superstition does not warn you about broken glass. It warns you about broken self-perception. Bury the mirror. Stop seeing yourself through lenses that were never meant to honor you. Never kill a spider at home, here is why. In old Shanghai tradition, the spider was a messenger of good fortune, a weaver of destiny signaling abundance. To kill it was to destroy the message before it arrived. The Stoic lesson is deeper. How many opportunities have you crushed simply because they appeared in a form that frightened you? Epictetus taught that wisdom is seeing value in unexpected things. The spider is not your enemy, it is your lesson. The old Shanghai monk watched the city from his temple steps and wept, not from sadness but recognition. Everyone below was performing a life rather than living one. Epictetus called this the greatest tragedy, not poverty or suffering, but the man who spends his life becoming what others need him to be, dying without knowing who he truly was. Society wants your performance, not your truth. Stop performing. Start existing. The crowd is powerful but rarely wise. In a mob, reason fades and emotion takes control. Outrage spreads faster than truth, and people abandon virtue to belong. The Stoics warned of this danger. A disciplined mind does not surrender to noise. When the many lose themselves, the wise stand firm. Even if you stand alone, hold your principles, that is true strength. In old Shanghai, taking the last portion was seen as stealing fortune from the table. The Stoics saw deeper meaning, restraint. Epictetus taught that discipline means not taking everything simply because it is there. Take what you need, leave something behind. The last bite is never about food. It reveals the habit of the hand and the habit of the heart. Society worships status, wealth, titles, and fame. People measure worth by what can be displayed. But the Stoics saw through this illusion. Epictetus reminded us that true wealth is not what you possess, but how you think. A wise person does not grieve for what he lacks, he rejoices in what he has. Character, not status, is the only possession that cannot be taken away. Why society has made distraction a religion. Epictetus warned that the man who cannot sit alone with his thoughts is a slave. He simply has not yet seen his chains. Modern society has built an entire industry around keeping you distracted from yourself, because the moment you sit in silence and face your own mind, you begin to see the chains, and once you see them, you can break them. They warn against whistling at night, as if sound can summon misfortune. But the Stoics saw no danger in the act, only in the fear behind it. Night does not change truth, and sound does not command fate. When you fear harmless things, you surrender reason. A disciplined mind is not ruled by superstition, but by clarity, courage, and control of self. Society sells you illusions that success is status, that happiness is approval, that worth is measured by others. But these are quiet lies that keep you distracted and dependent. The Stoic sees through them. You don't need validation, only discipline. You don't need the crowd, only clarity. Break the illusion and you reclaim your life. They told you to chase more, to become more, to be seen. But in the noise, you forgot who you are. If only you can step back and questions everything. Ask yourself who benefits from your confusion. Why do you seek approval from the lost? Freedom begins the moment you reject their script and choose your own path. Society handed you a map. It said, follow this and you will be happy. Study, perform, consume, conform. But no one told you the map was drawn by people who were also lost. Seneca saw it clearly. Most men ebb and flow in wretchedness between the fear of death and the hardships of life. The lie is not out there. It lives in every standard you accepted without question. Wake up. Draw your own map. Here is what society never told you. The rules were made by the lost. The standards were set by the afraid. The finish line was drawn by those who never crossed it. You studied what they approved, chased what they valued, shrunk yourself to fit what they built, and called it living. Questions everything, keeps only what is true, your life, your map, your terms, always was. You reap what you sow because every choice is a seed. Anger grows conflict. Discipline builds strength. Life is not punishing you, it is reflecting you. You may escape consequences for a moment, but not forever. The world knows this truth. Change your actions or remain a prisoner of their results. Society will never stop demanding, be more, earn more, look better, move faster. But whose life is this? Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire and still whispered to himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." The pressure is real, but so is your choice. Choose your own standard. Walk your own pace. The man who needs no approval from the crowd already owns the crowd's greatest fear. A free mind. Status is borrowed. The mob is blind. The night holds its secrets. Hearts break and rebuild. Society never stops pressing. And yet, the Stoic stands, not because life is easy, but because he has stopped fighting what he cannot change and started mastering what he can. Your mind, your values, your next step. The world will always be loud. Your only job is to remain unshaken. That is enough. That has always been enough. Society trains you to measure your life against others, their money, their looks, their success. But comparison is a prison with no walls. The more you look outward, the less you see yourself. The Stoic understands this. Peace begins when you stop competing and start mastering your own path. Society is not your friend. It will smile while it shrinks you, applaud while it chains you, call it culture, while it kills everything original inside you. It does not want thinkers, it wants consumers. It does not want leaders, it wants followers. It does not want you awake. Because an awake man is an uncontrollable man, and an uncontrollable man cannot be sold fear, status, or the illusion of choice.
Society doesn't want you free, it wants you manageable. Dress it up as culture, tradition, success. It is still a cage built by people who were too afraid to leave theirs. They sold you fear. You bought it with your whole life. Wake up. Or don't. The cage is comfortable. Most people never leave. That is exactly what they planned.
They never needed chains. They gave you a calendar instead. Fill every hour, chase every deadline, collapse into bed, repeat. And while you were busy being busy, they counted the profit your exhaustion built for them. You were not productive. You were managed. The most elegant prison ever built has no bars, no guards, no walls, just a schedule, and your name on it. Nobody made you weak. You did, slowly. You chose comfort when growth called. You chased approval instead of keeping your peace. You filled silence because truth felt uncomfortable, and you kept delaying until it became who you are. These aren't accidents, just small choices repeated daily. But here's the shift. If your choices built this version of you, new choices can rebuild you. Starting now. Society taught you to be busy, not productive, not purposeful, just busy. Busy enough to never question. Busy enough to never sit still. Who is benefiting from my exhaustion? Your fatigue is someone else's profit. Your distraction is someone else's power. They did not break you with chains. They broke you with schedules, and you thanked them for it. They never needed chains. They gave you a calendar instead. Fill every hour, chase every deadline, collapse into bed, repeat. And while you were busy being busy, they counted the profit your exhaustion built for them. You were not productive. You were managed. The most elegant prison ever built has no bars, no guards, no walls, just a schedule, and your name on it.